This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Urjanvaara. But before that, this video is brought to you by Renee Nelson and Nuclear Salmon. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Urjanvaara map can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu. And as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. A little disclaimer, the map name is brought to you by Google Translate. If you've got a problem with the map name pronunciation, take it up between you and Google Translate. I'm doing my best here, people. Let's read a little bit of the description. A piece of the imaginary municipality of an area in Finland. This is inspired by the acclaimed Finnish television series, Metsolat. Again, I'm doing my best here. This map includes 12 fields, 48 buyable parcels of land. There's also 2 small lakes, a purchaseable grain mill, and there's also some purchasable sawmills. The sawmills have a custom pallet for planks. There is an increased selection of constructable player homes, that would be farmhouses, a new factory that produces barley juice, wink wink, and which is a northern alternative for grape juice, wink wink. Another new production building for oat cereal factory, which basically allows you to make cereal without the use of grapes. Harvest levels have been adjusted mostly according to real life sources. Custom crop counter, custom soil map. The economy has been adjusted, so a few production chains are definitely going to be needing to be looked into. There are Finnish license plates, including featuring EU plates, plain white and orange tractor plates, and winters are dark and snowy. Let's go ahead and load on in. Now, we are going to be loading in here in new farmer mode, but I would say that if you are interested in playing this map, I would highly suggest loading up in farm manager mode. And the reason for that is you do not own any land at the start. Now, we are going to use the mods that we typically use when we take a look at maps as additional field info, additional game settings, field lease, field calculator, and precision farming. As I said, I would highly recommend you load up in farm manager mode. In all play modes, you do not own any land. In all play modes, there is no starting machinery, so you're at a pretty big disadvantage for starting in new farmer mode because of your bank balance. Because you've got to buy land, you've got to buy machinery, so you might as well start up in farm manager where you've got $1.5 million and you can basically go to town buying land, buying machinery, and getting a good start. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. This is predominantly a forestry map because we don't have a pre-established farm. The farm in the preview image, which you may think is your starting farm, nope, that's not it. That is actually the animal dealer and a couple sell points and buy points. So that is not your starting farm. You do not start with any land or buildings at all. Let's go ahead and take a look at the lands area. See, we have a fair bit of forestry land. We do have 12 fields, and we do not own any land. We start right here. So there are kind of 3 plots of land fairly close to where we start. We could buy farmland ID 20 for $156,000. We could buy farmland ID 57 for $121,000. Or we could buy farmland ID 55 for $102,000. All of those are over the $100,000 bank balance in new farmer mode. So thus again, my suggestion of starting in farm manager mode. This map does include all of the standard crops available to us in Farm Sim 22. Let's go ahead and take a look at our farmland lease screen. Farmland lease screen is going to show us all of the buyable farmlands, how big those farmlands are, if those farmlands include fields, which fields they do include. And on this map, the farmlands are lined up with the field numbers from farmland 1 to farmland 12. We're also going to see how expensive these given farmlands are. So let's just go ahead and kind of scroll through this list. Now let's take a look at our field calculator screen. Field calculator screen is going to show us how big each specific field is. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and take a look and see what our custom soil map looks like. So the soil is predominantly sandy loam and then a little bit of loamy sand. We're not seeing any silty clay here. We're not seeing any loam here, at least in the field areas. Maybe there's some of that exposed once we clear out some forest and plow up some land. But with respect to the farmland, what we're seeing is a lot of sandy loam and a little bit of loamy sand. We do have a custom crop counter available on this map. And boy, is it different from your standard crop counter. Take a look. We've got very long planting seasons and extremely short harvest seasons. Let's take a look at our prices screen. We do indeed have the ability to sell most, but not all of the crops that are available to us to grow in Farm Sim 22 and are available on the map. Now I know sugarcane is not going to be grown in Finland, right? That doesn't make sense. But as I mentioned, we have all the available crops to us in Farm Sim 22 available on this map, including sugarcane. And with the custom crop counter, we do have planting and harvesting schedules for sugarcane. So the fact that we don't have the ability to sell sugarcane, the player does indeed have the ability to plant it. Is it realistic? No. But then again, we all know not the large majority of players are playing for realism when they are playing Farming Simulator 22. With respect to our animal outputs, we do indeed have the ability to sell all of our animal outputs. We do have the ability to sell silage, hay, straw, and grass. And then as we move down through our production items, we do indeed have the ability to sell all of our base game productions that are available to us here in Farm Sim 22. Do note we do not have the ability to buy bulk lime, nor do we have a stone crusher pre-placed on the map. So if we are playing with stones enabled, we will need to put down our own stone crusher or sell point for stones. Here we have the custom barley juice, wink, wink, again, that is available on the map that being sold over at the grocery store or the grocery wholesaler dock number 4. With respect to the platinum expansion production items, we do not have the ability to sell any of the platinum expansion items that are available in that DLC on the map. And if you are playing with pumps and hoses, we do have the ability to sell separated manure at the estate located right here. This is going to be over at the animal dealer. We do not start out with any machinery in any play mode. We also, therefore, do not start out with any animals in any play modes. This map does have contracts available. We do not own any production chains at the start, and this map does not have any collectibles. At this point, I would say let's go ahead and take a look at our starting fleet. Well, we don't have a starting fleet, but what we do have is we do have a couple custom items that are available in the shop that are associated with the map. We have the MKS-8 MK2 and the MKS-32 MK2. These are both modded liquid tankers that are set up to haul barley juice on top of the other fill types listed right here. Now, what I do also want to do is take a look at the build mode, because as I said, the map does have some things that we can place down. The description says that we can build them. Ultimately, what it means is we can place them. There are no custom silos, sheds, extensions, containers, or tools. Those are all standard items, but we do have some placeable farmhouses that we can put down. Various sizes and configurations. And then as far as production, we do have a couple custom production items. Interesting enough, the barley juice factory isn't pre-placed on the map. We can put our own barley juice factory down, but we're going to need to have $80,000 and a place to put it. Now this is going to output a liquid product, a bulk liquid product, There are no pallets associated with this factory. And as you can see, barley and water is going to give you barley juice. We also have the oat cereal factory. This is the standard base game cereal factory that has been modified to exclude raisins. You can see that we're going to take oats, sugar, honey, and barley, and we're going to make oat cereal out of that combination. This map also includes 2 different placeable sawmills. There are no custom sell points, greenhouses, orchards, or generators. We also have all stock animals, decorative elements, and if we take a look at our landscaping painting, I'm going to need to buy a little hunk of land here. Let's see what these look like. So we have our animal mud, our asphalt, concrete, dirt, forest ground. We have grass, more gravel. We have rock, and that is it. We have some paintable plants. We have our meadow grass. We have some daisies. Some more daisies. Bluebells. Some edelweiss. And then we have our various bushes. Now, with respect to this plot of land, I went ahead and bought this plot of land. We do not have the ability of selling this shed. Okay, so we're just kind of going to jump to what would be the farm tour. There is no farm tour because there's no pre-placed farm on this map. But again, when we start here, we basically have 3 parcels of land that we could buy to kind of make our start here on the map. We have this parcel here across the street. None of these parcels are necessarily overly flat, by the way. We have this parcel over here. Then we have this parcel over here. These buildings cannot be removed. They are permanent. Now, I am going to give the map a full point with respect to the ability to sell, or not, sorry, a full point with respect to production being built in. We have a dairy, a grain mill, and a sawmill built into the map. So that is 3 productions. We also have custom productions, and we really could put those productions wherever we want. We are taking off a 1/4 of a point because we do not have the ability to sell sugarcane. We do have the ability to grow sugarcane, even though it is not realistic. If the map author did not wish us to be able to grow sugarcane, then it should be excluded from the custom growth schedule in the crop calendar, and that would then preclude the player from being able to plant it. There's also ways to pull sugarcane out of the crop listing. If that makes it not available for consoles, I don't know specifically, but I do know that we have seen maps that do not include all of the FS22 crops. So that's another way of making sure no one is going to use sugarcane by basically stripping it out of the map entirely. We are going to give the map a full point with respect to can the farms be customized? Because just like there are in the wilderness maps, there is no farm pre-placed, so of course you are going to customize it to your heart's content. Now down here just south of our starting area, we have the pre-placed sawmill. So we have our interactive icon here. We have our wood cell trigger. We have our wood cell icon right there. This is the pallet. That's what planks are. That's what the pallet of planks is going to look like. 2,500 liters in planks. That is a different plank pallet than what is typically in the base game. And there we have our spawn point for the pallets. Let's get a little bit of altitude and just kind of make our way up the western edge of the map. Looking across, you see this map is definitely intended to be a forestry map with a little bit of farming mixed in. We're here by fields 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have a sell point that is a pre-placed NPC farm. This is on unbuyable land. Let's make our way to the north to a little bit of a town. Now, with respect to buildings where appropriate are using the new texture technique and ground textures, the ground textures are indeed using the new texture technique. I would say about half the buildings on the map are also using the new texture technique, so we are going to give the map a half a point there. Here we have our dairy pre-placed. This is a base game dairy, so we have our interactive icon here in the front. And then around the back, we have our dump point and our pallet spawn point. Our dump point and our pallet spawn point located right there. Across the street from the dairy, we have our vehicle shop. We have our fuel station. We have a sell point at the vehicle shop. And then around back, we have our maintenance trigger. Now, one thing you will notice with respect to player and interactive areas being clearly marked, you're going to see that this map is lacking the yellow and black corner markers to really indicate where these corners are located. So, for example, here, the trigger is in front of either of these doors, but we don't have those markers located. That will ultimately come into play when we are talking about our final score. As we continue up the road here, we're going to come to our grocery store. And this is a sell point located right here. And then we'll wind our way down to our animal dealer. Then ultimately the final pair of sell points and our grain mill. We're not going to bother with a drive around at this point because we can easily take a look at everything that we need to look at via the fly around here. So what we're coming up to right now is the farm that we saw in the preview image when we loaded the map up. And here we have a buy point to purchase manure. We have our animal dealer trigger. We have a sell point at the animal dealer. And if we continue along this road, we're going to come along the final pair of sell points. So we are going to give the map 3/4 of a point with respect to animal or player and interactive triggers being clearly marked. So overall, this map is going to get a score of 4 out of 5. So here we have 2 sell points. We have kind of the grocery warehouse dock 1, and we have grocery warehouse dock 4. Then we have our flour mill. So we have our dump point, we have our interactive icon, and then we have our pallet spawn point. So guys, let me know what you all think of this Finnish forestry map with some farming options. I think the map could really have used a kind of a dedicated buildable area for a player farm. I really wish that you owned a little bit of land in new farmer mode. Maybe had a little bit of farming machinery, a little mix of forestry machinery in new farmer mode. And then in farm manager and start from scratch, basically being a start from scratch series, not owning any land, not having any pre-built farm or anything like that. I would like to have seen that type of an option as opposed to not owning any land in all play modes, because really that's going to focus your start in farm manager mode. So you've got the cash to buy some forestry machinery, and put down some stuff, buy the sawmill if you want to do that as well. And until next time, happy farming.